They say temptation wears a smile, not a warning sign. The day my best friend told me, "Don't flirt with my mom," I laughed it off because how could I ever do that? But that was before I saw her. Before her eyes locked with mine, before her voice melted something inside me that I didn't even know existed. And that night, that one summer night, everything changed. Pause for dramatic tone. Before I take you through this story, make sure you like this video, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to Kindness Universe because what you're about to hear isn't just a story about temptation. It's about love, guilt, and the choices that define who we become. Story begin. I was 19 that summer, restless, wild, and searching for something I couldn't name. My best friend, Aiden, had invited me to spend a few weeks at his family's lake house. We'd grown up together, brothers in everything but blood. The first evening, we arrived just as the sun was sliding into the horizon, painting the sky in gold and crimson. The house stood quietly by the lake. Big glass windows, a porch that looked over the water, and that stillness that made you feel like time had stopped. "Mom's inside," Aiden said casually, pulling his bag from the truck. "Just don't say anything stupid. She's kind of sensitive since the divorce." I nodded. I didn't think much of it, but when I stepped into that house, I understood exactly what he meant. She turned as soon as we entered, a woman in her early 40s maybe. Long dark hair fell loosely down her shoulders, her eyes the color of soft green glass. She smiled, not the polite kind, but warm, alive. "Ryan," she said, reaching out her hand. "So you're the boy who keeps getting my son into trouble." Her voice was low, teasing, and for a second, I forgot to breathe. I shook her hand, trying to act normal, but there was something electric in that moment, something that made the air heavier. Aiden groaned. "Mom, please don't start. He's hopeless." "Enough already." She laughed. That kind of laugh that fills a room. "I'll try not to corrupt him too much," she said, winking playfully. That night, as we sat around the deck under the stars, I found my gaze drifting toward her more than once. She wasn't just beautiful. She had that quiet confidence that only people who've lived through storms carry. She talked softly, but every word carried weight. When she smiled, it wasn't for show. It came from something deeper. The next few days were easy. Mornings spent swimming, afternoons hiking, and evenings watching the lake turn silver under the moon. But I couldn't stop noticing her. The way she tucked her hair behind her ear when she read by the window, the way her laughter softened the air around her, the way she looked at me sometimes, like she knew exactly what I was thinking, and maybe was thinking it too. Then one evening, when Aiden had gone into town to meet some friends, she found me sitting alone by the water. "Mind if I join you?" she asked, holding a glass of wine. I shook my head. "Of course not." She sat beside me, the faint scent of jasmine surrounding her. "You boys are lucky," she said. "When I was your age, I thought I had it all figured out." Then life laughed in my face. Her tone was half joking, half truth. "What happened?" I asked softly. She glanced at the lake. Marriage, expectations, losing myself in being someone's wife, someone's mother, and forgetting who I was. There was a silence, the kind that felt intimate. "You ever feel like you're living someone else's life?" she asked suddenly. I hesitated. All the time, she looked at me then, really looked. And for a heartbeat, it felt like the world had narrowed to just us. Then she smiled faintly. "You're too young to understand," but her eyes said otherwise. Days turned into weeks, and with each passing one, the space between us felt smaller. She'd tease me when Aiden wasn't around. Playful words, harmless at first. A brush of her hand. A knowing glance. Once, I caught her watching me as I came out of the lake, water dripping from my hair, sunlight on my skin. Her gaze lingered. Then she turned quickly, pretending to fix her hat. But I saw it, and she knew I did. One afternoon, when Aiden went for a run, I found her in the kitchen, painting. The light from the window hit her face just right, soft, golden. "You paint?" I asked. "Sometimes," she said. "It helps me breathe." I watched her hand move, delicate, steady. "You're good." She smiled without looking up. "Flattery, Ryan. Didn't Aiden warn you about that?" I froze. She laughed, glancing over her shoulder. Relax. I'm teasing, but her eyes weren't teasing. That evening, something changed. Aiden and I got into a fight, a stupid one, over a girl back in town. Words were said, tempers flared, and he stormed out, slamming the door behind him. I sat on the porch, furious, guilty, and exhausted. That's when she came. He'll come around, she said softly, sitting next to me. You two have too much history to stay mad. I shouldn't have said what I did, I muttered. He's like a brother. She touched my arm, light, reassuring. You're a good kid. But when I looked up, her gaze lingered longer than it should have. Something in that moment, loneliness maybe, drew us closer. The world went quiet. The cicadas hummed, the lake shimmered, and before I realized what I was doing, we were inches apart. Then she whispered, almost to herself, this isn't right, but didn't move away. And I didn't either. For a second, the air between us burned, unspoken, impossible, but real. Then she stood abruptly, her voice trembling. Go inside, Ryan. And just like that, it was over. Or so I thought. The next morning, Aiden was gone, a note saying he'd gone camping with friends for a few days. I didn't know whether to feel relieved or terrified. That evening, I found her in the garden. She was watering the plants, wearing a simple sundress, her hair tied back loosely. She didn't look up when she spoke. I shouldn't have let that happen last night. I'm sorry, I said quickly. Don't be, she murmured. You didn't do anything wrong. Then she looked up, her eyes shining, not with anger, but something else. You just reminded me what it feels like to be seen. I didn't know what to say. She took a step closer. Do you know what loneliness does to people, Ryan? It makes them crave warmth, even if it burns. And before I could answer, she kissed me. It wasn't wild or impulsive. It was desperate, quiet, and full of years of silence breaking open. When she pulled away, she whispered, You'll forget this. You'll go live your life. Promise me you won't look back. But I knew I never could. The next day, Aiden came back. Everything was normal again, laughter, games, pretending. But she and we couldn't unsee what had happened. She avoided me, kept her distance, but our eyes told every story words couldn't. When summer ended, I left. I didn't say goodbye to her, just one last glance as I got into the car. She stood by the window, hand on the glass, watching me go. And that was it. Years passed. I went to college, built a career, tried to move on, but every so often I dream of that lake, of her smile, of what could never be. Then one day I got a call from Aiden. His voice was heavy. Mom passed away last night. The world stopped. I went to the funeral. It was a small gathering, family, friends, memories written in flowers and tears. When I saw her photograph, smiling, serene, something inside me broke quietly. After the service, Aiden handed me a small envelope. She wanted you to have this, he said. I opened it when I got home. Inside was a small letter, her handwriting, delicate, familiar. Ryan, by the time you read this, I hope you've forgiven me and yourself. What happened between us wasn't about desire, it was about two souls meeting at the wrong time. You reminded me that I was still alive, still capable of feeling something true. Don't let guilt define you. Let kindness do that instead. Live fully. Love bravely. And if you ever sit by that lake again, smile, because somewhere I'll be smiling back. I sat there for a long time, staring at that letter through blurred vision. It didn't feel like regret. It felt like closure, a wound finally allowed to heal. Pause for emotional pacing. Before I close this story, I want to remind you, if this story touched your heart, please like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Kindness Universe. Every story here is meant to remind us how fragile, beautiful, and powerful human connection can be. Ending message. That summer taught me something I'll never forget. Love doesn't always come wrapped in perfection. Sometimes it appears in the wrong faces at the wrong times in the wrong places, but still teaches us the right lessons. Because love isn't always about possession. Sometimes it's about awakening, and kindness, even the quiet kind that heals what can't be spoken, can turn pain into peace. So if you've ever loved, lost, or felt something you couldn't explain, remember this. Every feeling, no matter how forbidden or fleeting, shapes who you become. And maybe, just maybe, that's what makes being human so heartbreakingly beautiful.